All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to What Did Prince Do this week? Your boy is good to go solo. Uh, D'Angela is doing her thing, flying around the world, so we're gonna hold it down this morning and get things started. But we got to do our music thing. We got to get it, get the mood right. So let's go. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Come on in. And actually, the first person here today was Cassandra early, like almost an hour before showtime. So we want to salute you. All right. Christina, good morning. Sunny Minneapolis. Jay loves drinks. Okay. Got Sakaria. What's up? Drea. Lord. Good morning. Good morning. Is it Shamara? You saying it right? Oh, we love you. Deja, what's going on? Yeah, we sending out love all over the world. What up, D? Kim, timekeeper. What's up, Ronald? And Deb, how you doing? Good morning. Good morning. I don't have the button below. Sexy. There you go. Chris, good morning. Nick, tapping in from Denver. Tanja, all through the night. What's happening? Yeah. We just, we're soaking up some good vibe. How y'all feeling out there? Has everybody had a good week? JD Washington, good morning. Let's give JD the breakdown part. You got your tea or your water, your drink. Let's go. Yeah. What up, Lisa? This is how you start a Saturday. Plus, it's sunny out here too. This is on some We Cut. Arlena, what's up? Heath, we're sending out love. Carol, what's going on? Carol, you want to get some of these keys? All right. Woo. Now we're ready to go. Again, solo today. D'Angela's out doing her thing. I think she says she's in Abu Dhabi. Almost that's like international. So we gotta love it, man. We salute to her. And I'm doing a juggling of different things here. All right. Let's get things started. So let's get into our house cleaning, as we like to say around here. Let me switch that in. So week 19. Is it really week 19? 1984. But what this is, what did Prince do this week? It's a very slow read of Duane Tudahl's Prince Studio Sessions book series through an interactive weekly online book club and Saturday salon, echoing the spirit of the Harlem Renaissance. And with that said, you got to put your book up. If you got it, throw them up, and we'll also do the fans as well. But yeah, we are following this book, obviously. If you've been here with us for weeks on weeks, you know the drill. All right, we're going week to week, Sunday to Saturday of 1984, not to date. All right. And of course, if you would love to join us and get notifications to follow, QR code on the screen. easy way to tap into us. Of course, you do not need the expanded edition, but that's what we're based on. So there you go. What up? What up? I see y'all in the chat. And yes, these are archived every week on youtube.com/at polish solid. And of course, on my site, youtube.com/at MD. There you go. And if you haven't already done it, please like and subscribe. And if nothing else, tell your other Prince fan friends and family to join us every Saturday because it's fun. It's fun. And of course, we have our hashtag what did Prince do this week? WDPDTW. All right. All right. So we're gonna, and I think in her haste, we got some slides that don't need to be in here. But with that said, this show, the estate of Prince Rogers Nelson, is not affiliated, associated, or connected with What Did Prince Do This Week book club series, nor has it endorsed or sponsored the What Did Prince Do This Week book club series. Further, Paisley Park Enterprises has not licensed any of its intellectual property to the producers, advertisers, or directors of the What Did Prince Do This Week book club series. In other words, we ain't got nothing to do with them. All right, let's get back to the full screen. Oh, what's up? What's up? Let me jump back into the comments. What's up, Chippin? How you doing? Christina, yes, we're holding them up. And Purple Cat Confetti, happy place of my purple family. Absolutely. This is the spot right here. Every Saturday. Annie coming in from France. Wow. Again, we're sending out love a million miles this morning. And we're going to get into what we're going to read this week. We're actually going to be jumping into what's interesting about the book. If you have the book, the first part of May doesn't have specific dates in the book. It's just sort of an estimate of what he may have done during this first week or so. So today we're going to be reading about early May 1984, Our Destiny, Strange Relationships, and then probably getting a little bit into Ice Cream Castles, the album. But before we jump into this, I do want to show something real cool. I think we're going to have even more information next week, but I did receive this in the mail and I just thought it looks fantastic. We're going to deviate for one quick second. I wanted to show off this guy right here. I don't know if you can see the felt. Let me, hold on. There you go. You can kind of see it's got that purple velvet cover, the gold here. Y'all can get a good look at that. Yes, this is the Prince 40 Years of Purple Rain book by Andrea Swenson. And it's a nice little, this is like, this is definitely look like it's some royalty, you know what I'm saying? Fitting of Prince, but this looks really good. I mean, just presentation wise, you got to love it. And I'm not spoiling this book at all, but we'll show you the cover. Right. I don't know if it's shown in reverse here, but back. And yeah, what does it cover? Obviously, it covers Purple Rain. So if you love you some Purple Rain, you just love you some Prince, you got to get it. I just show a couple of things here. I don't know if the lights allow y'all to see that. Yeah. So yeah, I don't want to go too crazy in it, but we're ready for this. This is coming out. If you haven't already, go pick yours up. Get the pre-order in. It's on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and all those good places. But yeah, this is a great book coming from our sister Andrea. So salute to her. Good looking. But yes, this is so what we got going on in chat. Good morning. Clarifying statement made in the chat 2 weeks ago. Well, damn. Okay. Prince wrote the first verse of the new version of the song RS, which now includes a sample of his song Makeup by Vanity 6. Excuse me. All right. I'm not mad at that wisdom. So let me go back and correct y'all from 2 weeks ago. Not mad at it. El Michelle, what's up? What up? What up? How you doing? All right. Annie says she's got her book on pre-order. That's what's up. Where can you buy the book? Again, any bookseller, your major booksellers are going to have this for sale. So definitely check that out. Tanja said, pre-ordered, can't wait. Okay, okay. I want the book. Yeah, have mine pre-ordered from Electric Fetus. So there you go. Yeah, I think they're having an event or a signing. Isn't it Electric Fetus? I could have sworn I saw something online, but don't hold me to it. But yeah. What's up, Ronald? Good looking. Okay. Okay. All right. So you guys ready to let's do some reading. This is so cool because I am a reader. Like I'm reading 3 or 4 books at any given time, whether they're ebooks or physical books. So I love to read. And so the idea of doing a weekly reading thing is actually pretty dope. All right. So let's get into some reading. If you got the expanded edition, here's the page we're going to start with. We're going to start on page 323, early May 1984. Our Destiny, basic tracking. Flying Cloud Drive Warehouse, Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Producer Prince, artist Prince and the Revolution, engineer Susan Rogers. All right, this is a quote from Lisa. We'd fool around and play together, and a couple of times we'd come up with what we thought was a song. Prince would hear it and like it, and it would become a Prince song. There are still a lot of those songs that we recorded with Prince on the shelf. I don't know. They may be used, they may not, but they're really good songs. Anything we did at that time, we figured was for the band because we felt it was our band too. All right. Prince had been listening to the music on Purple Rain for almost a year, and although he created the songs and they were like children to him, he was likely very tired of those tracks. Knowing that he was about to conduct a tour that would consist of playing that soundtrack almost every night for another year, he was hungry for new inspirations to take him in a different direction. And once again, he relied on Wendy Melvoin and Lisa Coleman to help him find a new sound. There's a quote, "It was all of us together," Melville recalls about writing Our Destiny. All of us. We did it together. He's the candle on the cake. We were his line chef, prep chefs. You know what I mean? A great chef has to have some really good cooks in his room in order to make that meal and deliver it. The track itself was a very sparse piece of music that was likely recorded with only those three in the studio. It is unclear whether Prince recorded the lead vocals for the studio version of the track during the summer of '84, but but it is probable because the song was still being considered for the next Revolution album. It was also mentioned as a likely track for the 1999 Prince and the Revolution Roadhouse Garden album. So it is conceivable that he added them at some point. The song, excuse me, the song would be rehearsed by the entire band and performed for Prince's birthday show at First Avenue on June 7th, 1984. Prince would sing the lead on the track for its only live performance. Status, Our Destinies, 3 minutes, remain unreleased during Prince's lifetime, but it was edited together with Roadhouse Garden and included on the Purple Rain Deluxe Expanded Edition CD set in 2017. The edit was done at a later date as both tracks were recorded separately and considered two distinct songs. Excuse me. They were played together during their live debut at Prince's upcoming birthday show, and that is probably why they would, excuse me, that was probably why they were eventually combined. Strings would be added for the track in September of 1984, but were repurposed for the beginning of the latter. Interesting. Which was released on Prince's Around the World in a Day album in 1985. So, Our Destiny. Man, I remember like the first time that song kind of started to leak out a few years ago and just thinking like it brought me back to this Purple Rain time, that sound, kind of real big, boomy type of sound. And I was just like, God, it felt, you know what it was? It felt so much like that era. but it was something I had never heard before. And then, hearing Roadhouse Garden, I was just like mesmerized, but I could not stop playing it. And I think it was the live version that I had heard first from the birthday show. And just, it was one of those songs that was instantly imprinted in my Prince Rolodex, in my mind. There's the playlist that we have on our phones, and there's the playlist that we have up here that you can just immediately pull it up and like, oh yeah, that song just went into that uh, to me. Just the feeling of it. It's interesting that the strings that he lays some strings down and then pulls it and puts it on something, but it just shows that even though he's working on all this other stuff, he can hear this or do something new and be so motivated, like, yo, I'm going in this direction right now. Like, and just go all in. I love that. Even if, obviously it doesn't come out for many years later. But I just love the fact that he could get so focused on something, even if it was just for a second, but still give it his all. Like it doesn't sound like incomplete or something to me. It just it's beautiful. So yeah, I'm curious if you guys in the chat have any thoughts on our destiny. So you know what? Let's take a man. This is my show. We're gonna change it up a little bit before we get into the next song. Let's play a song. How about that? Let's take a quick little break. We're gonna sip some water. We'll get real cool and lay back. Hold on for a second. Lord. Yeah. Get your fan out too. This actually be some real cool music when you're reading your Prince book and you got this on. You know what I'm saying? You just sitting back chilling. All right. Yeah, man. And you already know we're listening to some Madhouse with a little bit of space. Just a little music break. All right. Eric or Levi? Okay. Are we ready to continue? I am. All right. So next up, again, there's no specific date in the book here. So it's just an estimate of early May. And I remember first time reading this book, and when I see this song come up so early in Prince's, expanded universe, blew my mind. And the song we're talking about is guess you know me well. Strange Relationships, goddamn. Yeah, Strange Relationships. Now, a picture in your mind. This is before Purple Rain came out, before the movie came out, before the album. And Prince is, continually working it like a job, doing music, recording at all times, just active, doing his art, living out his purpose, right? Strange Relationships, Flying Cloud Drive Warehouse, Eden Prairie, Minnesota, producer Prince, artist Prince and the Revolution, engineer Susan Rogers. Let's go. Quote from Susan: he rarely went back to mix something. So for the most part, at the end of the day, and that's excuse let me Back it up, Michael. He rarely went back to mix something. So, for the most part, at the end of the day, and that's why our days were typically 24 hours long, when we printed a mix, it was done. That's the end of it. But sometimes he'd go back and he'd want to rework the song. And there's some that spring to mind, like Strange Relationship. It took a lot of reworking. It was unusual. Mm. According to Susan Rogers, Prince revisited another track that he'd been working on the previous year. Strange Relationships was one of those rare examples of when he had a song, and I remember him playing it back at the Flying Cloud Drive warehouse. And he had that one around for a while. We recorded it and set it aside, which was atypical for him to take something he really liked and set it aside. This, I assume this is Susan Rogers talking. End of quote. It is unclear how much was done on this song, but Rogers recalls that it would be worked on multiple times in the future before it was released. I don't know what he was aiming for, and I don't know why he was dissatisfied with it. It seemed to be a strong song, and always one of his favorites. I'm gonna keep going, but I don't know if my mind, I can't even imagine hearing that song. Like, I can't see that in that time period. It's so, because my mind is so distinctively Sign of the Times to me. But man, it's one of those things where it's just like, yo, this dude, like he said, no one's he got grooves up on the shelf. Like, he not playing. Like, his bag, when people, oh, I'm just gonna go in my bag and just give you something, some little thing, like his stuff got like heat, nuclear bombs in that bag of just jams. I can throw that at you. It's crazy. Status. Strange Relationships ultimately underwent multiple variations, including some that had Prince asking Wendy and just Wendy and Lisa to work on without him. Quote, we got a master tape that had Prince's vocals, piano, and drums, according to Melville. He said, take it and finish it. So Lisa and I went back to Los Angeles and created the other parts to it. The sitar sound came from a sample from the Fairlight. When Sign of the Times was released on when Strange Relationships was released on Sign of the Times, 4 minutes and 1 second, the credits contained their musical contributions. This is interesting. Little note here. It says another track recorded during this period was, and it's called Most Likely To. No additional information can be found about this song. So again, more works, still a lot of stuff we ain't never heard, but yeah, Strange Relationships. It's interesting that he worked on that song as long as he did. There are a couple of different versions out there. I love them all. I would say probably my favorite take of the song is the performance, the Sign of the Times rehearsal, dress rehearsal performance, whatever you call it, that they did at First Avenue. I think the classic bootleg was called For Those of You on Valium or something. That version of it is crazy. I remember, like, just to deviate for a quick second, like one of the first vinyl bootlegs I ever bought in my life. Gosh, this is going back to it was like early 90s. Now that I think about it. And I probably spent like $50 buying this thing. But it was a vinyl record of that performance. And I had never heard it before. And I remember just playing the record when I got home and I'm listening to it. I'm just like, yo, like, what? Why does it sound like this? And when I say that, like, because it was so dope, I was like, what is this? And I remember when that song came on, Strange Relationship, I lost it. I was like, yo, like, it was so funky. And it was so funky in a way that I hadn't really heard Prince play like that. And I can say that because, during the Sign of the Times movie, that song isn't in there. So I hadn't really heard the live version. And smoking, man. Like, we've done a reaction video on this. But yeah, it is crazy. Let me jump into comments for a second. Stone Agency Music. Yo, Mike, just Shazam Space by Madhouse and the cover that you created pops up. Hilarious. Yeah, that's funny. I didn't know Strange Relationship was an older song. Yeah, I didn't either. But just goes to show he had that early. You know what I'm saying? Like he had, like, we learned or we read last week that Pop Life was was back then too. Which is crazy. Um, I agree 100%. I played that version on repeat constantly regarding Strange Relationships. Yeah, it's hot. I would pull it out, but I don't want to get our show crazily. Uh, I don't want nothing crazy to happen. All right. Let's see where we are. So yeah, that's Strange Relationships. All right, you guys ready to jump into the next one? Again, we're doing it a little different. I guess we'll take another break. Let me get my breath together, and we'll get into the next part that we're going to talk about. But let's take another little, slide over here and just take another little chill for 1984 real quick. We're walking in the studio. We're at the warehouse. You know what I'm saying? We're going to picture in our mind that we walked into the warehouse. Where was that? In Eden Prairie? Is that the one or wherever it was? But the band is in there cutting, rehearsing. So let's go. You walk in the studio like, what is this, Prince? My Lord. If you can imagine, think of like the scene in Purple Rain when Vanity Six and them or Apollonia Six are recording or rehearsing with Morris. What if it was a Prince rehearsal? And the kid is up there. And like Billy's over there to the side counting his money from last night. It's like, Jill come in. Yeah. This takes place right after Princess. What do you say to Jill? A subpoena, and then maybe the band showed up. Or when Big Chick came in, tell him I'm rehearsing. And my man Mark, I look at the people. Where Lisa and Wendy at? Yeah, man. What'd you say, Billy?
This is a business, and you ain't too far gone to see that yet.
All right. We want to get that breakdown. All right. All right, my man. That's the Never Get Married mix. Woo. Lord. That's from the uncut version of the album. that was the prelude to the Barnyards. I'm just making shit up. All right, let's get back to the reading. Let's get back to the book. Let's try a little fun, you know what I'm saying? All right. Now, we do have a date here, a definite date here at this point. Thursday, May 10th, 1984. Ice Cream Castle album, Sunset Sound, Studio One, 6:30 p.m., 7:15 p.m. We're not going to be here too long. Producer Morris Day, although he was not present. Artist at the time, engineer Peggy Mac McCrary. This is a quote from Morris. I was totally frustrated with everything. And if it had been a great and it had been a great run, but I had gotten to a point in my life where I wasn't really happy with the way shit was going down. And I started thinking to myself, that is getting to the time for me to move on. Oh Lord. So Morris was like over it. A rare session in Studio One at Sunset Sound consisted of a final tweak to the Ice Cream Castle album before it was output and sent to Bernie Grundman for mastering. Prince wasn't present, neither was Morris Day, although he was noted as the producer. It would be the last it would be the last time, that's interesting. It would be the last time Day was listed on an official studio document associated with the time for many years. I want to stop right there. Um, it was a blow whenever we did find out that the time wasn't continuing no more. And it's just interesting that this is the last time that Morris was even associated with it on an official capacity, in terms of studio work, for a great many years. Um, but before we knew anything about corporate world or graffiti bridge and then coming back together, this was it, man. And, these brothers had such a camaraderie in the studio. They had such a sound together. The albums that they created together, fantastic. And it's so unfortunate that it sort of has to come to this point. It has often been written that Day had basically checked out and left the Prince camp in the spring. But the reality was that plans were still being discussed by Prince and those around him for the time, or at least Morris Day as a solo artist, to continue recording and touring with Prince and potentially perform on the Purple Rain tour. Yeah, take this comment off. Sorry. So Prince and still had interest to have Morris come on the tour, maybe even as a solo act. That's just so interesting. Let me take a break. There we go. All right. Day had not made up his mind about his plans. Quote, I waited because I was really trying to be certain, he explained in 1985. I don't like to be premature about my decisions. I gave Princess Camp the opportunity because they knew I was heading in the direction of a solo record, according to Day. Prince's manager, Steve Fargnoli, came to my house and he's like, yeah, you can do a solo record. Prince wants you to do a solo record, but Prince wants to be the executive producer. So I know what that means. That means the same old shit. So I was like, no, thank you. I said, I don't want to do that. And so that was pretty much it. With Day no longer living in Minneapolis, the confusion was compounded because almost all communication had stopped between the two camps. It came time for me to break away and build my own castle, confessed Day in the mid 80s. I needed some time to think about it myself. The phone had been ringing since May, but I wouldn't talk to anybody. I needed to come up with my own conclusions. I don't want to sound negative, it just wasn't good anymore. Morris Day was an important part of Purple Rain, but as of now, he no longer pledges allegiance to the time. The movie had yet to be released, and plans for the promotion of the film as well as their album were all going to change. A video for the title track had been shot in the spring, and there were two live performances in the movie. So half of the tracks on the album had potential music videos to release. With this supply of promotional material, no one would know that the time had come and gone. The exception, of course, being their obvious absence on Prince's tour. Most of the original members are gone, said Day. I think the time will go on, but they'll probably change the name. Right now, I have to look out for myself. Prince's tour manager, Alan Leeds, recalled the feelings within the band at the time. Jesse and Jellybean and Jerome wanted to carry on with the band. Morris did not. And there were a lot of internal differences amongst them as to whether or not the band could continue or should continue. It was at this point that the future of the time was being decided, and it had somehow ended up in Jesse Johnson's lap. As he had done the previous fall, Jesse Johnson took the lead while rehearsing the latest version of the band, which now contained most of the new lineup except Day. Morris was living in LA and promising to come back to rejoin rehearsals at any time, explained Leeds. Excuse me. And he never did. Prince lost patience and finally said to Jesse, what should we do? Do we just disband? Do we give it up? Do we form a new group? Do we call it the time and get somebody new up front? Do you take over and we change the band? What do we do? The members of the band remained on the payroll and continued their routine. Band member Mark Cardenas reveals their confusion. We were still showing up at the rehearsal hall and hanging out and waiting to see what was going on. And nothing was going on. And it was really disheartening because we knew the hype was out there and we're all excited about going on this tour. How could nobody, says, how come nobody knows where Morris is? That's fun. Where's Morris? Uh, this left Jesse Johnson as the wild card when it came to continuing the brand and the band name. For now, he would remain the driving force within the band until Day made up his mind. And that's where we're going to leave that for now, because we're getting off into other weeks at this point. But wow, there's a lot going on with the time. They got a hot album ready to rock in this movie that could potentially be something. And of course, they know there's another hot tour that they're working on. And Morris is like, "You took? Did you give?" like, like, yeah, so there's a lot going on. I think it's cool. It's very interesting too to see Jesse Johnson stepping up, and he was ready to blow. And of course, we know what ends up happening with Jesse. He was good to go solo and did his thing. He just went on and did his thing. But you can see, I mean, there's lightning all around me. Hey, that's when I called his name. Morris couldn't be found. But you can see sort of how things may progress on to the family and things like that. But yeah, man. So the time, great band. I guess all good things came to an end, but it wasn't the end of the band. Obviously, they get back together many years later. But you can see the dynamics of that group starting to change dramatically. Personnel kind of starting to change, and it's unfortunate because again, they're right at the cusp of superstardom. I think all of the work that they have been doing over the years to build everything to this point. And I see in chat about Jimmy Jam and Trey Lewis, all of these people that were a part of this movement. You had Vanity, was a big part of that. And she, there was like, there's three positions. There's Prince right here, front and center, top position. Morris, Vanity, trifecta. Um, of course, Prince's hand is on all of that, but they were all, this thing moving forward. And from 1999, Triple Threat. It's like, okay, we're the new force that's coming, a new style. And it's unfortunate that how certain things happen. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis were let go, major blow, and them brothers, as we go on to, were a major talent. You know, uh, they go on to create their own thing. But that sort of happens. Vanity ends up leaving. She's not in the movie, and now Morris is, moving away as well. But it's great that we got Morris on the album in the movie. I can't imagine. See, and I can't even imagine the movie Purple Rain without Morris Day. Like, uh, he is just as a part of that movie as Prince. Like, and I remember back in the day when that came out, the conversation was like, Morris stole the movie. But you can't have Purple Rain without Morris Day, nor can you have it without Prince. Um, we'll never really know, but the Purple Rain that would have had all three of the original people, like with Vanity, would have probably been, should have been something crazy. But with that said, we're gonna wrap things up here. Shout out to D'Angela and her safe journeys. Salute to all of y'all in the chat today, holding me down, having a good time. We did things a little different. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this. What else can I say? We're going to continue to read. We're going to come back next week. And then also go out and get this guy right here. Hopefully, we'll have some information next week on that as well. And check out a lot of the other and interesting Prince related podcasts out there, YouTube channels out there. We love them all. Go check them all out. We support them all. And yeah, have a good time. Have a good week. I'm about to get up out of here. I might jump back on a little later this afternoon and we might play some music. I don't know if y'all caught it last week. We did a stream. We streamed the entire Love Sexy concert. We listened to that top to bottom. We went all the way from the beginning, went to Anastasia. We came back with the Rebirth and then left with Alphabet Street. And I think we might, let's see if we can take ourselves out with a little something that doesn't kill the stream. Hold on. I'm just doing this. I'm doing it live. We'll take it out. Yeah, we'll go out with this. But with that said, we see you in chat. Thank y'all. Have a good one. Spread some love. Spread some love out there. Working like a job. We'll see you next time. Peace. And I'm gonna keep the camera going just for a little bit.
Someday I will touch it.
As we cross the line.
Because it calls me. Since cross the line. Cross the line. I know everything is not always what it seems. So I pinch myself daily just in case it's a dream. A man walks a path. My spirit to him I give. And I will hold his hand and rekindle his will to live. And he will live. And he will give again. The light shines.